Right, so I think that's pretty much the face details in. I think what I'm going to do now is, like I said at the beginning, I just want to darken up these areas, and I'm going to use the Derwent Drawing Ivory Black. I've also, coming back, noticed I just want to just remove this line here. I don't know why I went up to that. I just want to take that out, just like that. Just go over that with the warm grey one. That's better. So yeah, I'm going to use the Derwent Drawing Ivory Black, and I just want to darken up these darker areas. So, and I've got it nice and sharp with my electric sharpener. It's quite hard to sharpen these with a manual sharpener, I find. So I'm quite happy that I've got it to a nice sharp point. So let's just do a bit around the nose. I mean, you might find that yours is dark enough. I just want to give it a bit more oomph there, so I'm just going to go over all the darker areas. Okay, and then let's come round to the eye. So as I said before, this is a lovely black to have. It really does darken things up. We haven't got the drafting film to work on the reverse side, so hopefully you can see it does really help. Oh, that wasn't very good. I don't have a point now. They are quite a soft pencil, so I've just proved that they're quite easy to break the point with. I think they get away with it. Let's just do a bit on the eye. Okay, let's come over to the ear. Blow some pigment away. I don't want to use the brush. Let's just do a bit on the ear here as well. I'll just keep turning my pencil around just so I've got some sort of a point. And I think I'll put some of that in this side the ear as well. So I'm going into the fur here, so it tricks you into believing that I'm inside the ear and not going over the fur. Okay, and let's just do it down here. Okay, I think that's just about it for the ivory black, but hopefully you can see what I mean. It does really help darken areas up there. Excuse me. I think what I want to do now, just before I move down to his chest area, I've got the cold grey 4. I just want to add some of this into the grey areas. Not all over, just in places. And it just helps smooth everything as well. And then on the top of the head here. So I am going into the ivory black as well. It doesn't matter if I drag it over, because again over here it is quite dark actually. I might add, let's have a look, some warm grey 5 here. I just want to darken. No, that's not good enough. I was going to see if I can go for the warm grey 6 maybe. Let's just go with the black because I can't seem to find. I just want to darken this up here. That's okay. I think that's pretty much the head area done. Okay, let's move down to the chest area. So I've got the warm grey 1, and I'm going to bring it down to here. So I'm just going to mark out areas so we know where we are. So it sort of comes and meets in the middle here, and then it goes off. So I'm going to come down to this area. We've got a couple of folds here in the skin, so let's get them in. So I'm just plotting where some areas are just to make it a bit easier. We've got a grey bit there. So yeah, wherever you can make it a bit easier on yourself, it's definitely worth doing. So I'm just going to fill this area in with the warm grey 1, pretty much what we did with the head area. And it sort of comes over this way. I'm just going to go back and forward to get this colour in. Take out there as well, actually. And then we've got, let's put this in as well. So this is where we need to concentrate on, obviously, direction of fur, because it's quite important here. It's quite short fur under here too. Okay, I'm going to rub that line out. I've got a few pencil lines there, so I want to take them out. Just because we don't want them to come through. And still with the warm grey one, I'm just going to put some hairs in there just so we know where the back is of the neck. What I want to do, actually, I just want to flick the pencil off for the odd strands of fur on the back of his neck there. Okay, so now we've sort of marked out where everything is here. What I've also done with my reference photo, I've actually upped the saturation, so it helps you to determine where the cold hues are and the warm ones are. So like under the neck, if you really look further, you can see it's actually quite dark. You know, at first glance it just looks like white fur, but you need to look a bit deeper. If you want a bit more realism in your drawings, you need to look at all the colours that are going on here. See, like you've got some violet pinks going on. You've got lots of different warm greys, cold greys. You know, it's quite dark coming down here. It's quite dark under the chin. And, you know, we really want to look at what's going on in the fur, just so we don't, you know, if you just went in with a white pencil and, you know, just carried on colouring it all in your white pencil, it would just look flat and it just wouldn't look right. So yeah, what I tend to do, I go to the saturation on my settings and I turn it up, especially with something like this with very light fur, and I've personally turned mine up to 15, and it just gives you a bit more, you know, a bit more colour in the white fur, and it just helps you a bit. You know, not everyone might want to do that, but that's what I do and it works for me. So with that said, I'm going to carry on in this area here. So I've now finished with the warm grey one. I'm going to go to the cold grey 3, because we've got some greys coming down here. So I'm going to start with the cold grey free. I'm just going to colour this in like this. Let's just take that pencil mark out. So hopefully that makes sense. It just, you know, if you turn the saturation up, it just gives you a bit more idea of all the different colours going on. You know, the warms and the colds. And while I've got this cold grey free, I'm just going to add a bit there. Not too much, just so we know where the folds of the fur are. It's all about making it a bit easier on yourself. And obviously enjoy it, that's the main thing. But if you can make it easier on yourself, then I suggest you do that. I'm just going to bring this cold grey over the warm grey one, so it's all sort of flowing together. Okay, and then we're going to go with the cold grey 4. This might not be deep enough. I'm going to put it in anyway, and then I'll add to it. Now obviously this all needs to be brightened up, but we'll get the dark sorted first and then we can go back to that. I think what I'll add now, let's see about the warm grey 5. Yeah, so I've got the warm grey 5 here. I'll take that into the black as well, just so it's all nice and flowing together. And then I'm going to go with the black. I'm not using loads of pressure, I just want to darken this area here where it's under the white fur there, under his neck. Oh, I keep checking the direction of the fur as well, that's important. Right, just going to do a bit more black higher up here. And then what we could do, I want to get a bit of white now, so I'm wondering if either the Luminance white, let's try that first, and you can see that goes over nicely, it adds a bit more light. I'm only doing it gently because I don't want it to be brilliant white, because it's not. I want it to look natural looking. And I think that's pretty much all we need there. Let's get a cotton bud. Let's see if we can just blend that a bit more. Sometimes these are really good on some papers. I'm not sure if it's that good on this Canson Velvet. I know some papers that's really a good thing to use. So let's carry on with up here. Okay, that's why I could find it. It was an extender. So I've got the cocoa in the Pablo. I just want to deepen it up a little bit. So I'm just going back and forth. I think also with coloured paper, the colours obviously do lay down differently, so it can be a bit more complicated, I suppose, with coloured paper, because your pencils do look different on it rather than just on the white surface. But I think it's nice to use coloured paper sometimes. I personally like it anyway. Okay, let's just bring that down here a bit more. So we're now getting the light and dark in now, so it's looking a bit more real. So we don't want it to be just flat white fur. Okay, so at the front of the chin here, neck here, it's quite dark, so let's get that in and put a bit more pressure on. Okay, and then I'm going to go over these a little bit more with the cocoa. So we've got these folds of skin, folds of fur, sorry, so I'm just sort of joining it all together. I think I'm going to go to the warm grey 2. I just want to add a bit more over the warm grey 1 here. It just helps get into the trying to think of the word, into the paper, because it's not a flat surface. It's quite fluffy fur down here, so I'm just going back and forth just so it's all covered and get into that tooth of the paper. That's the word I was looking for, the tooth of the paper. think we'll add some sort of violet-y pink when we come down a bit further, just to give it a bit more colour. Excuse me. Okay, and then I think we're going to go, let's have a go with the Luminance white. So I've got the white Luminance, and then we can start adding a bit more light coming through. You can see it comes over lovely over the greys there. And if you put too much white in, obviously you can just go over it again, so you can't really make a mistake. Put a bit more of that up here. And then we can go over that darker area we did earlier, the white, just so it's coming over. Right, so I think what we do now, I've got the mono rubber. I'm just going to take some of these lines out before I go any further. That's pretty much it. Let's just give that a little brush. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm gonna work this side, I think, first. So we've got some cooler tones coming down that side. So I think I'm gonna go with the cold grey 2, actually the cold grey 3 like before, and then we've got, try and get my bearings here. I'm just going to start adding in some cooler tones. And then let's put a bit on this side as well. And not too much on this side. And we've got this bit here that comes down, and then you've got a bit that folds over. So it's a bit, it does get a bit complicated trying to work out where you are, but whatever works for you. Just give that another little brush there. That's it. Okay, I think a bit more there. So I'm just trying to map everything out again. So let's darken up under the neck. So I've got the French grey 30%. I'm thinking it might be dark enough. Let's see how it goes. I'm putting a bit more pressure on. I'll do his mouth as well while I'm here. And what I might do is add a bit of dark sepia in a minute. So let's go with the dark sepia in the Polychrome. I've got the dark sepia here, and I'm just going to add a bit of this, especially on this side. Just going back and forth. Just add a bit more darker brown. I'm just doing it in places. I don't want to make it all the same brown, just darken it where I feel would benefit. Let's put a bit over here. There was another colour that I did think about adding actually, which I'm going to give a go. Violet grey. Just along here. See, it's a very nice purpley colour. It just gives a bit more colour down this side. Not too much. Okay, let's do a bit more blending now with the warm grey one. I think we've got enough colour in there. We don't want to overdo it, so I'm just going to go back and forth with the warm grey one. You could always use actually as well the raw umber. I did have that out in the Luminance. Yeah, I've got the raw umber here. So it's quite similar. It's a bit warmer, the raw umber. And let's give it a go, but it might just blend a bit better. It might be a bit of a better pencil actually than the warm grey one at this stage. So if you've got the raw umber, it's the raw umber 10% actually. or you can just stick with the warm grey and the Polychromes if you wish. And I'm just sort of merging it all together, softening it out. It does look quite rough on the camera, but it's quite up close to the paper. But in real life it doesn't look half as rough as it does. It looks a lot softer. That's what we want. We want nice soft fur. And then we can add the last layer of a little bit more white, just to give it a bit more of a brighter colour in places. And then I think that'll be it for this top part anyway. Okay, let's go to the white in the Luminance. Pretty much just add a bit more lighter areas where we need to. Just put it back in. And then you've got a couple of curly bits coming over here that we can just put in. Just put a bit more pressure on your pencil, and then it sort of, you know, you get a deeper colour. Switched over to the white Pablo, just with it being a drier pencil. I just thought I'd get a bit more white in, just in places. If you can hear snorting, it's my dog making funny noises in the background there. I don't quite know what she's doing. I just want to soften around the neck here. try the cotton bud actually again, because I've got quite a few layers down now, so if it's going to work, it's going to work now, I would say. Not really doing much, I don't think, but it's always good to try these things. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on down the chest area. I'm going to go back to the warm grey one, and I'm just going to come down here. I'll come down here as well. Let's just put a bit more this side as well. We just sort of go down in sections. It changes quite a lot as we go further down. Well, colour wise anyway. I've just found a clean one. It's always good to try these things. So I'm quite new to this paper as well, so it's nice to test different techniques. So yeah, I've just got a clean paper stub here. Let's see if it does anything. Not really. So that might suggest I would need more layers. I don't think it's really making much difference there. Well, we can maybe try that a bit later. So let's just carry on a bit more with the Luminance white here. I'm going to move him up a bit so we can continue down.